National duels in January compared to the NCAA championship, the individual championships in March. What do you think on the two separate events? Should it just remain the way it is, or?
Well, first of all, the national duels have been moving around for years. They've been a good event. They've never been what you call a great event from the standpoint of just everybody involved. It's never really been put together and truly tried and then been able to look at it and say, okay, we don't want it, or yes, here's how we want it. It's been jumping around. It's kind of like international wrestling, and you saw what happened to international wrestling there for a while. The stability is not good enough when you jump around too much on the rules, regulations. Some of the people get crooked. So right now, if we just established a format for the national duels and went after it with everybody involved within a 6 to 8 year period, we would have it refined or it would be gone. And then it would be a good event. Right now, everybody's got their own ideas. We don't really have any true form organization that really takes control. And so it's like it's spread thin through the coaches. It's spread thin through the organizations. And so we just kind of do it. It's good. It's just not great. It's like this year. We got another one. I think it's like February 22nd. It's in Iowa City, Iowa. What better place to have it? Maybe Penn State. But the thing is, I don't think Oklahoma State's coming, and I don't think Penn State's coming. So, it's like, wow, we're just delaying the sport for another year. So pretty soon, I think they're just going to throw the towel in, which, you know what? Wrestling shouldn't throw the towel in. We may need to grow a little bit. We may need to go to a higher level. We're not exactly mainstream in the world. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got kicked out. We're not exactly mainstream in the United States as compared to some of the higher level shows that are on TV all year long and getting press. I mean, I can't remember the last time you saw a lot about wrestling except for when we got kicked out in the Olympics. So the bottom line is we got to get together more, and I think we showed that we can get together, and it might have been the only time in my history of being a wrestler and a coach that we actually got together as coaches and fans, and guess what? We won the vote, and now we got a chance to continue, but we've already let up with the committee. We're going back to splitting the national duels again. Not everybody's going to be there. Not everybody has ever been there, I don't think. So really, it's not really a true championship, but I think if they actually tried it, I think it would turn out. But I'm not in it. I'm only trying to help the sport, and I'm not in a position to make those kind of answers. But I just know that for a guy that wants the sport to go to a higher level, more TV, more numbers, so on and so forth, people need some help. And so I think these coaches better look at it that way and quit being so it's not, this is for us, this isn't for us. Just get on board and help us out.
Okay, Dan, can you give us your take on the new rules in international wrestling? And I'd like to know your opinion on the fact of whether they should have an overtime period instead of the criteria rules.
Well, here's the thing. You got to realize who we're dealing with. We're dealing with people that have wrestled this style forever. It's not just the United States, and they're always changing the style a little bit. But, they have certain things that they've had for a long time. And to get people to change, it's like you just can't go in and change 20 different things. Maybe you change 2 or 3 things for the better and find out if it's for the better. And then you go and change 2 or 3 more things if you can do that, or one thing at a time, and let the rest of the world actually find out that, but when you change all things, it's going to be like a complete different sport for people, and we don't want to really take away from what they've been having in their culture their whole life. So, I personally think the criteria is not a good answer. But you know what? The Russians like it. They're the top team in the world for the last 50 years. So their whole thoughts are like one move and end a match. like judo, you pull, like an opponent or whatever you do, you throw a guy. But you know what? I don't think they're right. And the bottom line is you just try to do what you can do, and we've done some good things. Got the 2-point takedown, and then all of a sudden they snuck in a 1-point takedown again, and now it's out again already. So we're making progress. So, that's good. But there still is like a 1-point appreciation throw. I don't necessarily agree with going into a tournament and not having seedings. I think as you go down the tournament, you should have the ability to have quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, and you should have actually the best guys in the tournament. They deserve, but everybody has their own opinion, and that's another one they've been doing forever. Criteria they've been doing for a long time, and they've also been doing no seeding for a long time. But, I think things like that could change. So I'm sure there's several other things that we could change, but right now, I'd have to agree with you that if there's one for the fans' point of view, if we're going to get on TV, if the score is 12-12, it's pretty hard to explain to the fan why somebody won on a tie.
Yeah. Dan, with Fargo just finishing up, for any of our high school listeners that might be listening in on this, what's your take on high school wrestlers getting involved in freestyle and Greco? Like at what age do you think that they should hit that?
I'm glad you're bringing this up, because it's really not the wrestlers that I'm concerned about. It's the number of coaches that are in the junior high and the youth and the high school level that actually don't get involved. Because if the coaches get involved, almost all wrestlers that are involved to some coaching angle or some coaching organization, whether it be high school, college, or clubs. And you know what? If you're not on board with international wrestling, shame on you, to be honest with you. And you know what? I think there's only about 10%. And you know what? So that's shame on you for about 90%. And you know what? Maybe you don't get paid enough money. And then look at it again, okay? Well, how do you get paid more money? Well, first of all, you make your sport a bigger sport. So I'm going back to some of the things I said earlier. But second of all, it's not so much about just getting paid for what you do. It's more about creating opportunities for yourself. There's a lot of ways to make money in life. But the thing is, I think that if you think that the sport's not going to help a collegiate or scholastic wrestler, you're kidding yourself. The more you can learn in the sport of wrestling, I mean, whether it be judo, I don't know whether you want to do some other types of MMA stuff, but I don't think you want to go to your back and hang out there by any means. In fact, in the MMA, I don't like that position as well either. I know you got to have it from a guard point of view, but the bottom line is I think you should be dominant, you should be on top, and you should know what you're doing there. But I really think that if you want to grow this sport, that's where we're going to grow it. We got to get more people involved in the off season, whether it be for 4 weeks, 6 weeks, and I'm going to tell you, the ones that are doing it are going to have more success in scholastic wrestling. Mark my word. You'll just be that much more seasoned of a wrestler.
Yeah, and there's just so much more room for growth there, too. Like you said, if there's only 10% of the coaches doing it now, I mean, look at all that room for growth to get the other 90% plus all the kids that aren't doing it now.
Right. Look at the growth in female wrestling. There's 51 state high school championships in the United States of America that's sanctioned by schools. There's 4 that run female. So 4 of the 51 run female. Otherwise, the other number, 47, I think, it's like they have to wrestle against the guys, and I just don't think that's the way to do it. I think we got to get on board there. I know we're old-fashioned a little bit, but it's just like growth. It's like, okay, for boys, 50 of 51 state high school associations wrestle. I like that percentage. The only one better is if we could get Mississippi to sanction high school wrestling, and it's a shame they don't. But yes, they should look and see that 50 of them have. But it's harder to grow when you only have 4 out of 51. So we need more numbers there. And so the bottom line is yeah, let's get that 10% up to 15%. Then let's get them up to 20, up to 25. Let's get out there and figure out how to make some more money in the sport. And when you're doing that, you're going to have more opportunities, and the sport's going to become bigger. There's going to be more opportunities for everybody involved, and that's what I want to see.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. It's very imperative. I think everybody gets involved for sure. But we just want to thank you for coming on the show, Dan, and taking your time. And we thank you for everything that you've done for this sport and continuously. I mean, you've continued to keep doing it and supporting it now.
Well, I'm not letting up, and when you have people that like Caleb Sanderson and his group out there at Penn State, you have commitments from Penn State, and that's what you're looking for. You're looking for more of them. And I think this year Ohio State's kind of the name. They're looking for Tommy Ryan. He's the coach there, and I think he's got he's kind of the talk of the Mad Town right now as far as what's going on in the collegiate circles. I think that's good, and I think the Coach Brantes and Coach Smith, Coach Robinson, none of those guys, they're all hungry. And it's just that we got to get more of them like it. And we are, but it's taken us too long. And so I'm going to tell Rich Bender that, we got to get that CPOW committee going again. I mean, there's nothing wrong. We don't need to talk every week, but you know what? We probably need to talk once a month, 12 times a year. I miss those guys. And you know what? I don't know how far forward we've moved since we haven't had a lot of those meetings. So let's kick in the butt a little bit.
Okay, Dan, we appreciate you coming on the show, and we will definitely have you back on the show. How's that sound?
Hey, it's a wrestling show. I'm on it.
Awesome.
Thanks, Dan.
Okay, Dan, you take care. The legend, Dan Gable of Iowa, and what a great interview. We'll be back on WFSN LP 96.7. We are Mat Time Weekly.
Hello, my name is Mike Houston, and I'm from www.truewrestlinginsider.com. We promote Olympic style and folk style wrestling. Please visit our page and take a look around at our new articles by Fred Feeney, Chris Lembeck, and myself. You can visit our online store and look for ways to help us in our sponsorship program. Again, Mike Houston, www.truewrestlinginsider.com.
Johnny DeJulius of Ohio State, and you're listening to Mat Time Weekly right here on 96.7 WFSN.
Welcome back to WFSN 96.7 LP. I'm Matt Still, along with my co-host Bill Hayes, right here on Mat Time Weekly, and our next guest is Dave Habit of Enboro, All-American, and he just earned his first All-American placement this year at